Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is June 16th, and right now we're looking at the visible satellite imagery. You can clearly see the mid and high level clouds already encroaching on western BC, western Washington. That's going to continue to be the case through today. You can see some glorious sunshine out there in the meantime, but this trough's eventually going to come and move over the Pacific Northwest. Much colder temperatures, multiple rounds of precipitation, even some snow for some of the higher terrain. We'll take a look at those details here in a moment. If you want a nice, affordable home weather station, click on that link down below to save 10% on this. The Tempest Weather Flow that keeps all your data in the cloud for you, stores it for free, and the smartphone app with this system is great as well. National Weather Service Spokane, kind of an ingenious idea here. Put these filters to your fans, run those in your home, help reduce some of the forest fire smoke pollutants there in your house. Kind of a little ingenious idea there. This is the pattern shift coming. National Weather Service, Medford, Oregon. Check out these temperatures on Friday versus Monday here, and look at the amount of cooling coming in here, dropping up to towards 30 degrees over the period of a couple days here in some areas. So hope anybody in the backcountry is ready for this. You know, the campers and anybody hiking out there, be prepared for this very cold air aloft arriving. This is a good diagram of it here. This is 39,000 feet. You can see the jet stream pointed at BC here. And then you'll see this trough. It's reminiscent of stuff we get in the winter here across Pacific Northwest. Strong northerly flow off of southeast Alaska. Trough setting up perfectly here over the Pacific Northwest. This would be Monday afternoon. Here we go, 500 millibars here. Something similar showing here, of course, as the trough sets up. You can see the big yin and yang with the big ridge over the Gulf of Alaska and the deep trough over the Pacific Northwest. Kind of picture perfect look at it there. This is looking at 6-hour precipitation type and mean sea level pressure. You can kind of see that high pressure over the Pacific Ocean here. And then you see tonight, look at this little convergence zone signature across some of the Seattle Metro on into the foothills and the Cascades. We shift on in through Saturday and something similar again with a potential convergence zone setting up here. And then we look and we see this trough just over the Pacific Northwest. Look at the higher elevation snowfall possible across some of the Cascades as well. This is all the way out towards Monday afternoon on the most recent European run right now. Here we go. This is 100-meter wind speeds, and I want to show you that signature for the convergence zone here. So as you're going through the afternoon and evening hours, you can see the flow come down the Strait of Juan de Fuca there through the Chehalis Gap, and it kind of meets up there through western Washington. And so there'll be some locally enhanced precipitation amounts as we go through tonight here in those regions. And then again tomorrow, you can see that flow down the Strait of Juan de Fuca and the Chehalis Gap again as we go on in through Saturday night. And you can kind of see the onshore flow across the entire area, helping to usher in this much colder air mass. Here we go, 2-meter temperature anomaly. So this is late this morning about here, and you can kind of see the temperature starting to shift here, going below average by the time you get on towards Sunday late morning here across much of the region, especially across the higher terrain. And then we go into Sunday night and Monday, and look, by the time you get towards Monday late morning for some of Oregon down here, some places getting 30 degrees below normal for this time of year, really incorporating the entire Pacific Northwest here in these well below average temperatures. This is looking at apparent temperature here. So you can see as we scroll on in through today, we're not too bad today. But the cooling effects are going to start to be felt tomorrow, really. You can see some of these temperatures into the low mid-60s for Seattle. By the time you get towards Sunday morning, look at some of the higher terrain, though. You got to be careful out here. You get hypothermic out here across the backcountry. Some of these temperatures really chilly out here with some breezy winds and the very cold temperatures. You can get those apparent temperatures all the way down into the mid-20s here. So just have a heads up for that if you're out camping and out and about. It's that time of year where everybody likes to get out towards the backcountry here. And look, by the time you get into early Monday morning, even some lower 20s showing up in the apparent temperatures there. You combine that with the wind effects out there, and it's going to feel downright cold across a lot of the region. This is probability of snowfall. And I'm just going to scroll through here because this is a probability of 1 inch or greater. And you can see across the higher terrain of BC, Alberta, British Columbia here, and some of the Cascades, we're likely to get at least some snowfall across mainly the higher peaks. This is 24-hour running precipitation total. So here we go. This is on in through Sunday morning. So this would be from Saturday morning to Sunday morning. But you can see kind of this multiple rounds here coming across the area. I mean, look at Seattle. Might even pick up 0.4 of an inch in a 24-hour period here, and some much bigger amounts potentially for some of the Rockies of BC, Alberta. You can see it getting down to the Cascades of Oregon, the coastal areas as well. This deep trough is really going to have some wide-reaching effects here across the region. This is looking at the GFS. We've been looking at the European and the NAM. Actually, not the NAM. We've just been looking at the European. And you can see the GFS is in good agreement here with the European, with the big ridge, big trough here. So we have high confidence in this trough's arrival here as we go on in through later this weekend. And you can kind of see the GFS wants to hold this troughing on as we go on in through midweek. But then we get some ridge building here a bit across British Columbia here, and this could turn things a little bit more offshore, and we might even bounce back in some of these temperatures as we go through later this week. Just kind of looking out into the tea leaves a little bit here. We'll look at some of those temperatures coming up, but yeah, and you can see the GFS trying to hang this troughing around off the west coast of North America for a time at least. This is Seattle Tacoma, and this is the GFS. You can see that first initial trough here, then the bounce back of the temperatures here. We could get warm by the time we move into the following weekend coming up here. So we'll watch that as we go over the days coming up. This is daily 2-meter max temperature. This is the National Blend of Models. Let's back this up a little bit so we can see today. And you can see, look at that, maybe up towards 70 degrees for Seattle, even some 80s not out of the question there for the Willamette Valley. But you'll clearly see the cool down coming. It starts on Saturday. Look at Sunday, maybe not even getting up towards 60 for Seattle here with precipitation all around the Pacific Northwest. Monday, again, another very chilly day across the region. Look at some of the higher terrain of BC and Alberta there. The Cascades, again, very chilly. Then we go into Tuesday, not much benefit there, or not much warm up there, I should say. And then we go into Wednesday, start to bounce back a little bit. Look at Thursday, maybe above average. Friday, warming up a bit here across Pacific Northwest. Cross your fingers, we'll see. But it looks like there may be a warming trend as we go towards the following weekend coming up here. This is looking at Seattle Tacoma on the European, and you can clearly see the drop in these temperatures. Sunday probably being the coolest day for Western Washington here, maybe not even getting towards 60 degrees. And this is that kind of showing you where that trough is here. And maybe we start to bounce back here as we go on in through later next week. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. You got to remember this goes from June 21st to the 25th here. So this is already the trough moving through the area. So this is kind of showing that we may be bouncing back as we go on through the later portion of next week. 6 to 10 day precipitation here, kind of a little bit of a bullseye here on the Pacific Northwest for some above average signal there. And this is looking at the developing El Nino. I kind of refresh this daily. I like to watch this worm tongue kind of moving across the Pacific Ocean here. We're almost certainly headed for an El Nino as we go on in through the fall and winter months coming up here, which it's a pretty high percentage, it's a pretty high probability that we are going to be above what we were this last year here. We were pretty chilly for a time, and El Nino tends to bring warmer conditions here for the Pacific Northwest. So, high confidence right now in us being warmer here. And it usually brings an above average winter and early spring conditions here across Pacific Northwest as well. So, and again, we'll watch that, and we have plenty of time to look at that as we go on into the fall and winter months and the weather really starts to pick up again here across the Pacific Northwest. But in the meantime, this trough's going to be pretty dynamic here as well. It's going to feel like, early spring, late winter here for a couple days before we potentially bounce back coming up next week. But anyway, yeah, there it is on the visible satellite imagery. You can see the sun rise across the Pacific Ocean there. And yeah, this is going to be probably the last, marginally warm day here for Seattle, for example, before this trough really starts to move in tomorrow. Sunday probably being the chilliest day here. And as you saw, we're going to get some pretty good precipitation amounts here going across the area. So hopefully that can help out with some of the drier than normal conditions that set up across some of the Cascades here and kind of squelch some of this forest fire activity and kind of set us up for maybe, keeping the fires down a little bit as we go on in through summer. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. We'll do this again tomorrow. So get out there and enjoy the weather, and I'll talk to you guys then.